90-Day Fiancé. Brandan and Mary DiNuccio beg for more money. Justify ask. 90-Day Fiancé stars Brandan and Mary DiNuccio have a history of setting up fundraisers. Unfortunately, they have scammed fans out of money, which has made them incredibly untrustworthy. Now, the couple and parents of two are begging for more cash, which has caused them to be slammed. Yet they are justifying the ask, but how are they doing so? Keep reading for all of the details. Brandan and Mary are known scammers. It was hard for 90-Day Fiancé viewers to warm up to Brandan and Mary when they first appeared on the show. The duo would be on the phone 24/7, not allowing each other to hang up, which was odd. There were trust issues, and at times it felt like they should not be together. Yet they got married and had 2 children. In the process, they started to ask for money from fans, which was really off-putting. It is not uncommon for reality stars to do this, but they turned out to be scammers. She claimed that she had colon cancer, and being a young mother, everyone wanted to help. As it turned out, Mary essentially looked up her symptoms online. It came back as possible cancer, but she was actually fine. Therefore, fans felt that she and Brandan had been reckless with their asking for money. Now, they are back again begging, as both of their daughters and her grandfather had to be hospitalized. We really thought we wouldn't have to ask for help again, but we're going through a difficult time. We had money saved for emergencies, but after my grandpa was hospitalized because of a stroke, both Midnight and Summer ended up in the hospital too. The 90-Day Fiancé couple stated that they only wanted those who chose to donate, but were quickly met with judgment. So they took it down within hours. Mary and Brandan did return with updates. Their girls and grandpa had pneumonia. They also shared that they would save better and knew they would get hate. However, they were baffled because fundraisers were popular in the TLC universe. 2 grifters. 90-Day Fiancé fans had nothing kind to say about them. Yes, there are other stars from the show utilizing GoFundMe platforms, but they are in different positions. One was set up for Jenny Slatten amid her ALS diagnosis. She's also doing cameos for those who do not feel comfortable donating. Armando Rubio's daughter, Hannah, was airlifted to the hospital, and a GFM was set up for the family. His story with Kenny Niedermeyer stole so many hearts that it was easy to donate. However, Brandan and Mary make viewers sick, and they shared that sentiment. At this point, anyone who is actually stupid enough to donate to these disgusting and shameless grifters is getting exactly what they deserve. Brandan and Mary also had a fundraiser asking for money, insisting they couldn't afford to feed Midnight. That also got taken down. Do you remember Mary and Brandan from 90-Day Fiancé? Let us know your thoughts about their constant fundraising in the comments below. 90-Day Fiancé. Brandan and Mary DiNuccio beg for more money, justify their ask. Brandan and Mary DiNuccio have once again found themselves at the center of a heated conversation among 90-Day Fiancé fans, this time over money. The controversial couple, who became widely known after appearing on TLC's 90-Day Fiancé, before the 90 days, have never been strangers to intense public scrutiny. From their complicated relationship history to financial struggles and the challenges of adjusting to life in the spotlight, Brandan and Mary have repeatedly sparked strong reactions from viewers. Now, fans are debating a new question. Are Brandan and Mary asking their supporters for too much? Recent discussions surrounding the couple have focused on their apparent need for additional financial support and the reasons they have given for seeking more money. While some followers have expressed sympathy for the couple's situation, others have questioned whether the public should continue helping them financially. A couple familiar with financial pressure. Brandan and Mary's story has always been closely connected to financial uncertainty. When viewers first met the pair, their relationship was already complicated by long-distance challenges, personal insecurities, and concerns about money. Brandan traveled to the Philippines to be with Mary, and the couple faced enormous pressure as they attempted to build a future together. Their story quickly became one of the more controversial relationships in the 90-Day Fiancé universe. Rather than presenting a simple romance, their storyline showed 2 young people struggling with trust, communication, and financial limitations. Their circumstances made it difficult to separate their relationship problems from their economic challenges. That history is important because it helps explain why conversations about money involving the couple tend to generate such strong reactions. For some fans, financial assistance is understandable. For others, repeated requests raise questions about responsibility and independence. Why are Brandan and Mary asking for more? The central issue now appears to be the couple's explanation for needing additional financial help. Supporters of Brandan and Mary argue that the couple has faced difficult circumstances and that financial instability can become overwhelming when a family is trying to cover everyday expenses. There is also the reality of life after reality television. Appearing on 90 Day Fiancé can bring attention, but television exposure does not automatically guarantee long-term financial security. Reality stars still have bills, families, and personal responsibilities after cameras stop rolling. For Brandan and Mary, that distinction is especially important. Some fans believe the couple is simply trying to find ways to make ends meet while dealing with the realities of family life. From this perspective, asking for support is not necessarily a sign of greed. Instead, it could be an attempt to survive financially while building a more stable future. But not everyone sees it that way. Fans question the repeated money requests. The backlash comes from viewers who believe Brandan and Mary have already received considerable support from their audience. Some fans have argued that there is a difference between accepting occasional assistance and repeatedly turning to followers for financial help. That distinction has become a major part of the online conversation. Critics question whether public support should be viewed as a temporary safety net or as an ongoing source of income. Others have taken a more sympathetic position, pointing out that viewers often know only a small portion of a reality star's financial circumstances. Social media can make someone's life look far more comfortable than it actually is. A person may post family photos, celebrations, or purchases without revealing the bills, debts, or unexpected expenses happening behind the scenes. As a result, some supporters are encouraging fans to avoid making assumptions. Their past still shapes the conversation. Brandan and Mary's past on 90 Day Fiancé continues to influence how people respond to them. Their relationship became infamous for the intense communication and jealousy issues shown during their season. The couple's behavior generated criticism from viewers, while others defended them as young people attempting to navigate an unusually stressful relationship. Because of that history, Brandan and Mary remain polarizing figures. One fan may see them as a young couple who deserve another chance. Another may see them as reality personalities who have repeatedly made questionable decisions. That divide makes any discussion involving money especially explosive. When a controversial reality TV couple asks for financial assistance, supporters and critics tend to interpret the same situation in completely different ways. Reality TV fame comes with a complicated price. There is another side of the story that is often overlooked. Reality television fame can create opportunities, but it can also create long-term challenges. Once a person becomes recognizable, ordinary financial decisions can become public debates. A normal request for help that would remain private for another family can suddenly become a topic of discussion among thousands of strangers. Brandan and Mary have experienced that reality firsthand. Their relationship was documented for entertainment, meaning viewers developed opinions about their lives. But appearing on television does not mean the public knows every detail about their finances. That is why the debate surrounding their latest money-related situation remains complicated. There are legitimate questions about financial responsibility, but there are also limits to what outsiders can know. Supporters defend their right to ask. Some fans have pushed back against the criticism, arguing that nobody is forced to give money. Their position is relatively simple. If people do not want to financially support Brandan and Mary, they do not have to. From that perspective, the couple has the right to explain their situation and ask for assistance. The decision ultimately belongs to individual supporters. If someone believes the couple's story and wants to help, that is their personal choice. If another viewer feels uncomfortable contributing, they can simply decline. This argument has gained traction because online fundraising and creator support have become increasingly common. Reality stars are no longer limited to television salaries. Social media, live streams, subscriptions, sponsorships, and direct fan support have created new ways for public figures to earn money. But those opportunities also create new controversies. Critics want more transparency. The biggest demand from critics isn't necessarily that Brandan and Mary stop asking for help. Instead, some viewers want greater transparency. What exactly is the money for? How much is needed? Is the request temporary or ongoing? And what steps are being taken to become financially independent? Those are reasonable questions for anyone considering contributing money to an online personality. Transparency can make the difference between a request that feels legitimate and one that leaves supporters uncomfortable. If Brandan and Mary can clearly explain their circumstances, fans may be more willing to understand their position. At the same time, they are not obligated to reveal every private detail of their lives simply because they are public figures. Finding that balance may be the biggest challenge. Mary and Brandan continue to divide fans. One thing is certain. Brandan and Mary remain among the more talked-about couples connected to the 90-Day Fiancé franchise. Their relationship has generated sympathy, criticism, disbelief, and endless online debate. Money has only intensified that discussion. For supporters, the couple's latest request may represent two people trying to overcome financial difficulties while taking care of their family. For critics, it may be another example of reality stars relying too heavily on the audience that made them famous. Neither interpretation can fully capture what is happening behind closed doors. Only Brandan and Mary know the complete details of their financial situation. The bigger question. Ultimately, the controversy raises a larger question about the relationship between reality stars and their audiences. When viewers become emotionally invested in someone's life, where should the boundary between entertainment and personal responsibility be drawn? Fans may feel connected to reality stars because they have watched their relationships, weddings, pregnancies, arguments, and struggles unfold on television. But that emotional connection does not necessarily create a financial obligation. At the same time, reality stars are allowed to seek help, explore business opportunities, and ask their supporters for assistance. The important issue is whether fans feel comfortable with the arrangement. For Brandan and Mary, the latest money debate is another chapter in a relationship that has already experienced intense public attention. Whether their supporters ultimately accept their explanation or continue questioning their financial decisions, one thing is clear: the conversation is far from over. And as long as Brandan and Mary remain in the public eye, their personal choices, especially when money is involved, are likely to remain under the microscope. For now, fans will have to decide for themselves whether they believe the couple's explanation and whether they want to support their request. The controversy may eventually fade, but Brandan and Mary's complicated relationship with fame, finances, and their audience continues to make them one of the most polarizing couples in the 90